Welcome to another
I'm
episode
speechless right
of
now.
Okon Bros.
Yeah, I'm absolutely speechless
It's like
right
our
now.
first celebrity.
It's like
That's a miracle.
You're like the Robert
Michael.
Downey Jr. to our podcast. I mean,
celebrity businessman.
celebrity businessman.
Hopefully the later in life Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, getting $50 million a picture.
That Robert, yeah.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
the spiraling one.
Not the chaplain.
Yeah.
So we have Harris Beber
Yeah,
in studio.
Yeah, Harris is the CMO of Vimeo, a
And-
online video service, right?
Video platform,
Right, it's
yeah.
not like a bar mitzvah video.
No.
Right? No. It's a little bigger than that.
Although there are bar mitzvah videos on Vimeo.
Okay.
Not core to our mission.
So
Harris is a good friend of ours.
we knew we used to play poker with Harris.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back in
We used-
college.
Yeah.
I think technically 19 is still like teenage years, so we've known each other since we were teenagers.
Seriously. Yeah, we met in college through Tanner, right?
Yep.
Greg Tanner, who was on the podcast last week.
Oh,
Yeah.
can't wait to
We
see.
Skyped him.
Yeah.
That show should be live in like a week from today.
Yeah,
Nice.
Greg Tanner introduced us, and we would accompany him on his escapades in New York City. And
we were the Long Islanders, and Greg was the city boy.
yeah, well, Neil too, right? You were
Yeah.
friends with Neil
Yeah,
and
through Greg.
Mitch, and
Yep.
yeah, there was another dude that used to hang out with us. I don't remember his name. I don't think he liked me.
Yeah. That's why you don't remember his
Yeah,
Who cares?
Yeah, I used to play poker with him, and he used to get so mad when I would win.
Which didn't happen very often.
No, I was pretty good.
I was very good.
Right?
Yeah.
I
I didn't know the rules, so you guys would get mad because I didn't play by the rules.
You were very good.
Instinct all.
It was all your street smarts.
Yes.
Really excelled in.
Well, it was a mix between instincts and my ADD and impatience that wouldn't let me. So I like to be in the action.
Do you still play?
No,
You know.
there's a few. One, I don't have that much time to play,
Right.
so it becomes a choice between seeing my family or going out, and that's a hard trade-off. Also,
Right.
from my wife could make it a hard trade-off if you have too many nights out when you're working so hard. It's not conducive to a good family life. So
I gotcha. We don't use those big words here, by the way. Conducive, yeah.
family life.
Yeah, conducive.
I have to Google that. So we want to start from the beginning.
Well, I just want to mention that I have two numbers in my phone. Sharon and I share contacts in our cell phones, right? So like when I have a number, it's Harris Beber in my phone. I've had it since I met him,
Right.
And Sharon has a number in her phone, and we share the same number, and it says Harris Gift Back. So when I told Sharon yesterday, Harris is coming on the podcast, she's like, Harris Gift Back? So like, I don't think she knows your last name is Beber, but let's start with Gift Back, because what you did as an entrepreneur,
Yep.
you started something, and I want to preface this. You gave 1-800-Flowers a run for their money. I mean,
I don't know if I would go as far as that, but
Right.
they knew we existed.
They knew you existed, exactly.
Mainly because my business partner and I used to work at 1-800-Flowers.
Right.
That's where I started my career,
You started right out of college?
right out of college. After I did a 5-year program where I got my MBA. So right after that, I started at 1-800-Flowers. I interned there during school, and then they offered me a job, and it was a great learning experience. Right at the .com era, it was actually post .com bust, so early 2000s, and I got my formative education in e-commerce, in marketing at 1-800-Flowers. But I always knew I wanted to start something, and I met a guy, Ken Shalero, who I learned a lot from, and we became business partners and decided it was his idea actually for Gift Back, but as soon as I heard it, I latched onto it because it combined both sales and marketing in an area that I had expertise in, but also with giving back. That's the back part of Gift Back
Right.
to nonprofits. And it really empowered customers to choose the nonprofits they wanted to support. So this is right at the time when Apple came out with, the red iPod for AIDS research, and
Yeah, yeah.
there's pink Tic Tacs, but those were all one product, one cause. You didn't have much control over it, but what we realized and recognized that everyone has a cause that they're passionate about. It could be autism, it could be breast cancer, because each person has had events in their life that's touched them, and usually they want to support those causes that they have a personal affinity for, and that's where we create a Gift Back, where you could give 10% back of every purchase to a charity of your choice. We worked with, I think, over 400 nonprofits, and really empowered the customer to choose what they wanted to support. We didn't want to choose that.
I remember whenever I would order something on there, because I would do it quite often, just gifts for friends and family and business people, I would always do to the Lung Association, because at that time my dad was just diagnosed with lung cancer. So it worked, and it made you feel good that part of your purchase was going towards something that you care about.
Yeah, and by the way, I appreciated every one of those orders. At the time, we saw everyone, we processed everyone.
Yeah. We moved our whole business over.
Yeah, you did.
My mom, our mom moved all the gifts over to you.
And let's talk about that for a second, because I don't think people realize what starting a business is hard. People see the upshoots. They very rarely see the failures. They very rarely see the struggles. I think my business partner and I had 5 different offices we started in his basement, which was small, and then we upgraded to my parents' basement, which was a bigger basement office. And then my brother-in-law had an office space here in Hicksville that he let us stay, and then we kind of outgrew that, and we rented space from one of his friends that had an insurance company. And so we moved around. We were vagabonds, but throughout that, it was hustling. And
yeah, you worked your ass off.
one of the things that I learned that is, we've known each other a while. We say we're friends. That friends gets thrown around loosely. There's people in your life that you think are friends, but then when you ask them for help, and help could be, hey, order your Mother's Day flowers from us. It'll help us out.
Right.
That,
I don't want to toot our horn, but we totally came through.
But most people didn't. The point being, most people didn't. And it's a simple ask like that where you said, hey, if you don't mind, do your purchase that you're going to make anyway with us, it would help us out. It's surprising how few people go out of their way to help you. And one thing that I knew at that time was how incredible it was that your mom always ordered from us. And I would see the orders that came in, orders that probably shouldn't have been with us, she made with us just because she wanted to support my business. And at the time, we were young, we were friends, but it wasn't like I knew your mom my whole life. She knew that I was your friend, and that was enough for her to support us. But that was the exception, unfortunately. And I think that's one of the hard lessons I learned with going into business is people you thought would help you or go out of the way to help you rarely do. And I think, unfortunately, many people secretly don't want you to succeed, or they're afraid to take chances, or for whatever reason they don't go out of they're out of the way to help you when it's really simple. So that really, seeing how your mom went out of her way, ordered Father's Day gifts, birthday gifts. We carried Brookstone products, so if there was a reason for any gift, she would purchase.
Above everything else, it was a good idea. It was a good idea, and the product worked.
Yeah, supporting causes. You think supporting causes and items that you would purchase anyway is a no-brainer.
Right. It was a brilliant idea, Gift Back.
So what happened with Gift Back?
It did really well. We were 2 guys in a basement. I think we hit $1 million in sales in the first 8 months. So we said, all right, we should get out of the basement. We went to go raise funds. And as in so much in life, timing is everything. I think back to after we moved on from Gift Back, it was a boom period, and people were giving out multi-million-dollar checks to startups. But for us, that was 2007, right as the world started taking a turn. We hustled. We went to California. We spoke to probably 50 VCs and angel investors. We had 2 term sheets that would have helped us accelerate the business to the next stage. But right as those term sheets were going around, the world kind of took a turn for the worse in the financial downturn and the recession, and those deals fell through. And we were at a time where I was young and I wasn't married yet, so it was easier for me, but my business partner just had his first kid, who was 6 months old. We had credit card debt and ran our runway as far as we could, so we made a decision. Actually, we sold the business to one of our vendors, David's Cookies.
Oh my God, okay.
He actually looked at our business and saw what we were doing and wanted us to do that for his business. So it was less about our company and more about Ken and I being able to help grow his business. And I could create a great narrative like, yeah, we had an exit, we sold our startup. But it was great, and we were fortunate to find a buyer because it helped take a huge burden off Ken and I as earlier in our life where we had debt that we had amassed over the 3 years of bootstrapping. So it was really good and fortunate in that. It wasn't like a big financial windfall, but it was an enormous educational windfall and open doors, right? I took over the business for David's Cookies and the direct-to-consumer. They were a huge wholesale business and really helped grow their e-commerce business. It shaped a new phase of learning for me in terms of how to deal on a wholesale dropship side and build a different type of business. And that opportunity came about because a very successful CEO who built a $100 million business, saw two guys in a basement that were doing things that his business wasn't, and he wanted us to be part of his business. So, at one side of the story, it was a close to a journey that was a difficult close, because when you put so much time and effort hoping for a big exit or some outcome, and you don't see that fully come to life, that's never easy, but it was opened another opportunity. And so much of life is about not what you're doing now, but the next step of a journey that it opens up. And you don't realize that in the moment. You only get the benefit of looking back on life. During that, I was pretty soul crushing, because you have to, it's a tough choice. Do I give up on this thing that I believed in, that I worked so hard for, that in your gut is an amazing idea? You're helping give back to causes and you're making a difference in the world, but you don't have that liberty of you need to pay the bills and you have a mortgage and rent, and those are tough choices to make.
Right. Do you feel that if you would have stuck it out, let's say you would have opened that one more door to, one more angel or a round of investors, and they said, we'll invest in you. Let's say they weren't affected everyone was affected by the economy crash. Yeah. But let's say, would you have stuck with it, or were you done with that idea?
I think we did 6 months past what we would have stuck.
Really?
We look back on, because we kept going. We were fortunate enough, because Ken and I just opened doors. We did deals, that weren't core to the business. We had a background in corporate giftings. I think one of our deals was for the Deep Vein Thrombosis Foundation. It was $50,000 worth of socks, right? So that came at a midpoint where we needed that deal. It helped keep the doors open, and it did give back to a good cause. It was a PR campaign where they sent white socks out with markers that people could draw on for veins, and it was to raise awareness. But who would have thought we were in the sock business?
I always say, you can't succeed. I don't want to say that you fail, but you can't succeed if you don't fail, because the two just go hand in hand, and you wouldn't be where you are now if you didn't try, have it not work, and then move on to something else.
Give back was the stepping stone.
100%. It was a huge education. So much of your life, after you're done with school, if you're fortunate enough to go to school, the education you get is through the experiences and your willingness to take on new experiences. I think so much of my success or my path has been shaped by saying yes and just raising my hand and volunteering. That's one thing. Early on in my career at 100 Flowers, I literally volunteered for every cross-functional team, every program. It helped me advance because I knew areas of the business that no one else of my peers who were in similar roles did, because they chose to keep their head down and do a good job at what they were doing. But you miss out on so much of the opportunities that are there for everyone, but they only show themselves if you expose yourself to them.
Right. So let's talk about Vimeo. How did you end up as CMO of Vimeo?
It's a long journey. Through that,
you didn't jump from David's Cookies into Vimeo.
No, I was in the photo book space at a company that was more of a niche player. That was a nice sized business that was growing. When I came on, the business was actually in a decline for the past 2 years. We helped really turn that business around. Went from negative 10% growth to growing 40% year over year, and then at a point where the founder and CEO was at a stage in his life where, do I re-up and raise money, or do I sell the business? And he made the call to sell the business to Shutterfly. So that was a nice outcome, but also a little bit, I felt like we were just starting to get our momentum and seeing things through. But that was another different type of experience of taking a business that was kind of stagnant and helping it grow and seeing what that life cycle is of a different stage of business. From there, I made the decision to go to a startup. It was a sports tech startup, and you two both know me. I am not a sports person.
No.
You could see me. I am not an athlete by nature. I wasn't raised in a household where
we are.
where we watched football on Sunday. I just don't get it. So I had a dream job for somebody. It just wasn't my dream job. So I think very quickly I realized, maybe in the first 2-3 weeks, I was like, I made a mistake, right? And it was not because the founders weren't amazing. They were exceptional. And I think I was actually skewed a little bit because they were such great people and the people that worked there were so great. But the industry wasn't for me. It didn't play to my strengths. But the learning experience. And I stuck it out. I was there for a year and did my best to make it work. But it wasn't aligned with who I am as a person, what I care about as a person, and what I'm passionate about.
Right.
And the learning experience I took from that was, you really have to understand what you're great at and focus your strengths and your efforts on what you're good at, and don't try to force yourself because it seems like a good opportunity or there'll be a big exit or you can't pass up this opportunity. If it's not aligned with who you are or what you're good at, it's very unlikely that you'll succeed, or even if you're succeeding, it's very unlikely you'll be happy at what you're doing.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Did you learn any of this in Binghamton?
None of it.
Seriously?
No, seriously, you don't.
Right. And you have an MBA, right?
I do have an MBA, and I'm glad I did it at the time. I did a 5-year program. I would never go back to school. It's really hard to go back once you have momentum in life. I'd say what school taught you is a foundation and inputs to make good decisions. It's just, I don't know if Malcolm Gladwell, the 10,000 hours. Your life is filled with experiences, and those decisions that you call instinct that you can make is less instinct and more the collection of everything that you've experienced through your life. And so school was really good for helping process information and learn a structure. But the decisions I make and the success I've had has all been through life lessons.
Did your, I want to say career in Binghamton, do you think that helped propel you into starting your own business? Or did you know you wanted to be a
5-year-old? It's propelled me ever since I was a kid.
So since you were a little guy,
you knew you just you wanted to be a businessman.
I did since I was. My parents' friends would joke. I had a lemonade stand. I folded boxes at the pizza store. They didn't pay me. I got a slice of pizza, but I just wanted. And the day I turned, I think it's 13, I went to the school nurse, got my working papers. I was a stock boy at the local pharmacy, which, by the way, if you saw Meet the Fockers, was where Greg Fokker goes to get his champagne. That was the drugstore where I was a stock boy.
Wow. Were you there when they were filming?
It was after. That was after. I was not as exciting. There was no Hollywood.
Right.
It was just me making sure every bottle was at the front of the shelf. It's called front facing, if you don't know, and everything has to be front so it looks like there's lots of stock.
Never noticed that.
Yes.
If
you go next time you go to like a CVS or Walgreens, you'll notice every bottle when someone takes something out, someone's job is to go push the next one forward.
It's fascinating.
It's amazing.
That was really I was that someone.
I love hearing that, because it's not every day you get to talk to somebody that wanted to be a businessman.
Right.
And
that brings me into, you mentioned Malcolm Gladwell. Were there any other books in your beginning of the journey? We're going to get to Vimeo in a minute, but were there any other books, or I don't think there were podcasts even existed
Did not
back
exist.
when,
Why
right?
are you making us old?
Right, seriously. We were talking about that with Greg last week, that Greg's like, when he started cold calling for real estate, he's like, he went through Yellow Pages. Google didn't exist when we were starting to do our stuff. We didn't use that for that. But were there any books?
Did you walk to school uphill both ways and in the snow?
I used to walk to school, but
books and movies, that
any
inspired
pop culture.
I'm trying to think. I've always been, I don't want to say self-help, but one book I liked, I don't know if you've ever, Dan Millman, Way of the Peaceful Warrior. That flashed into my head. I love Malcolm Gladwell. The truth is I don't read a lot. Now I'm more on Audible, so when I'm commuting.
Sure.
Right.
If you have a family, little kids, you work 90 hours a week, there's not a lot of time for sitting down.
I'm an Audible guy too.
But it is amazing. Audible helps you multitask.
Yeah. Tim Ferriss? Were you into Tim Ferriss at all?
I was not into Tim Ferriss.
Right.
I started it. The book was enormous.
It's like this thick. Yes.
4-hour work week, but 40 days of reading is what it should be called. I'm listening to a book, Deepak Chopra, Metahuman. It just came out. That's really interesting. It's about, which is so much of my philosophy of how you approach life. Attitude is so much.
Attitude's everything.
Everything.
It's how you react that's going to determine your life, basically.
I think the words of wisdom my dad gave me once was, you have very little control of what happens in the world. The world is going to happen. But the one thing in your life that is certain that you control 100% is how you react.
100%.
So you have choices every day of how you react to things, and your attitude, whether it's positive or negative, usually dictates the day you're going to have, whether it's a good experience or bad experience.
Yeah, it's direct. Michael and I always talk about this. You are a product of your own thoughts.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's Stoicism. I'm getting really into Stoicism now, and Marcus Aurelius.
Now you're using big words for me.
Stoicism. Look it up. We're there's a ton of, I don't even want to mention the competitor, but there's a ton of videos on YouTube and everything.
We're a partner with YouTube, actually.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Go YouTube.
Many people still view Vimeo as a competitor or the ad-free YouTube, but we are so much more than that now. And we realized the world is fragmented. If you're creating content like you are, you need to succeed with video. That's the place that we want to play in the world, is helping, whether you're a small business, a filmmaker, a retail shop, an educator, is help you have a successful video strategy. And that's everything from the creation and collaboration and workflow to sharing that out into the world and distributing. We have a tool called Publish to Social that with one click, you take your video, it distributes it to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
really
incredible.
Yeah.
So jump from where you were doing gift back, you did David's Cookies, then you did the startup, then you did the sports thing. We're still taking you to golf this summer. I don't care what you say.
You can take me. I'll drive you around. I'll be your chauffeur.
It's fine.
You're in the limo business. I will be your driver for the day. Watch you play.
You got to come on the course, Harris.
People will like.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah,
you think we're good? No, we're awful at it. But that's the fun of it. You go and you fuck around for 4 hours. It's great.
Yes.
So continue the journey, man. This is fascinating.
After the startup, I went to Amazon, which was...
Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
A great experience. I was at Amazon.
In Seattle?
No, in Jersey City, actually. They had an office.
So you commuted to Jersey City?
I did. It was actually easier than I thought. I tested driving, would have been a nightmare, but I took the train from Long Island to Manhattan and then the path. It was right on the river. It was a great office, overlooked the Hudson River.
Right.
And it was a great learning experience. I oversaw digital marketing and strategy for 10 of their sites. It was a subsidiary. And I got a great experience on how Amazon views the world, how you look at the long-term view, the behaviors that drive what a lifetime value for a customer is, and less about the transactional volume of getting customer to transact with you, and more about how do you create value for a customer, not create value for the business. And if you could create value for a customer over the long term, that's how you have a sustainable business. So it was a really, really exceptional education.
It's amazing. That's amazing. And from Amazon, you jumped to Vimeo. I'm still...
One more.
Was one more?
I'm from e-commerce. We jump around. I was at Nature's Bounties. Then I had my first CMO
Oh, my
job.
God. Big shout out to Mitch Slade.
Yes. He's still there.
Yeah.
I met him.
Yeah.
We have a mutual friend. I was a CMO. That was my first CMO job. I was of the direct-to-consumer business. And it was a role unlike the sports industry, where I'm very passionate about in terms of health and wellness and into supplements. And it was something I truly cared about. So I was able to dive in and had deep subject matter expertise on why people take supplements and help drive those behaviors and educate them. And we really took a different approach once I got there, of solution-based, of need. I want to, I have high blood pressure, or I have a different ailment, and why people take supplements, because they view it as medicine. It's deeply part of their routine, and how do you integrate in your life? And you have a really important relationship with them.
As a CMO, what do you do?
A little bit of everything. It depends. I think, like most businesses, the title matters less than what the need of the company is. And at the highest level, your CMO is to build trust and with the customers. And it depends. Some companies are marketing driven. Some are service driven, like yours. Some are product driven. If you're a tech company like Vimeo, we are a product driven company. So everything we do at Vimeo is about empowering and helping creators. It's creator first. And my job as CMO is to take the value that the product team and engineering team is building and demonstrate that value to customers of the world. So find the right customers that have a need for a product, and then demonstrate the value that we create for them. And then once they're there, continue that relationship, whether it's through life cycle of emails and communicating them, doing events for our customers, and continually to build and foster that relationship. So for us, we want to help people be successful with video. The tools and products we build is what enables and empowers them to be successful. And then my role as CMO, my whole team, whether it's content or email or paid media, is to make people aware of all the great things that the hundreds of engineers we have working on products get into the world and it get actually used. Because you could build the greatest thing, if no one uses it, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
So we're a podcast trying to make it where we want to promote what we believe in and our business in a roundabout way. We don't want to come in and say use us, because nobody does when you do about it that way. So you just want to create value to people. We want to interview cool people. So how could we go on Vimeo, and what could it do for somebody like us? Because we literally have 30 subscribers at this point on YouTube.
33, bro.
33.
That's 10% more than 30. And 10% more of that, it grows. So I think the most important advice to a small business, which is a huge area of focus for us, is how do we empower small businesses who by the way, don't think it's attainable. The problem with that of not thinking it's attainable is the world is centered on video. Every algorithm on Facebook,
100%.
on Instagram, it gets 6 times more engagement than just a post with text. And if you want to reach your customers in the world, whether it's a customer, it's an audience, you need to be doing video because that's how you break through the noise. Video is a really compelling medium. So you need to be creating content. And it starts with 30. So the first piece of advice is just start creating content. You don't build a followership unless you start putting it out in the world. And 30 becomes 50, becomes 500, becomes 5,000. And I think what you said about values is really important. You're in the car business, and the cars you use to drive people around are not different than what someone else uses.
110%.
And if it's about a car picking you up and dropping you off, then the person who charges $5 less gets the business. If it's about your values and what you stand for as a company, then people come to you because
100%.
they believe in you as a business
Yep.
and what you're going to do for them and the service you'll give them. And then it's not about the Escalade or the Tesla that comes to pick them up. It's about the people who are driving the car, the people who make the appointments, and what you stand for as a company, and that's what sets you apart. And the way you do that is by telling your brand story, your customer stories, and the best way to do that, in my opinion, and by the way, the algorithms that are smarter than me's opinion, is video, because that drives engagement. You are very lucky to get 3 seconds of someone's attention in this day and age.
100%.
3 seconds, that's what you get.
Right.
So video is a really good way to break through.
Even though we have 33 subscribers, and
Well, don't
our
forget,
biggest
it's hitting
our biggest-
5,000 people
Our
on
biggest
your-
platform is definitely LinkedIn, and we post on there, and we have converted accounts on LinkedIn due to our videos, due to our postings, due to our pictures. So, like, as soon as something like that happens, where you convert a Fortune 500 company from LinkedIn, we're all in.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened, and that's the reason why we want to spread the love. We want to tell everybody, if you're not posting content online, you're missing out, and your competitors are, and whether they are or they aren't, you have to focus on you, and you have to create the secret. The hard part is creating a message, but you just have to figure it out. You have to start posting. Like, we didn't start with a podcast like this. We started with an iPhone.
Two idiots
and us
talking into an iPhone.
And then I got a Canon camera. And then I realized, I'm like, you know what? We let's take the conversations that we have in our office on the phone and put microphones in front of us, and let's start recording it.
I said we should turn Dad's office into a studio. It's the ceilings are high. It's a pretty big office. And it wasn't being used. It was a shrine to him, and all the autographs.
I love that. I love what you're saying, because so much in life is about just doing, right? The opportunities that we talked about, opportunities in my career, they came from just doing. So many people, especially that I see people starting out early in their career, about what's the outcome? What am I going to get for doing it?
That's the worst answer. That's the worst question that anybody could ever ask when they're starting out business. What's going to be the end result? You could have the end result in your mind, but that end result could take 8 years to get there. You have to go through 8 years of eating shit before you actually get to that end result. I mean, I look at this like, I don't look at this like work. Right? To me, this is fun. Like, I get to come to work early in the morning with my brother. We get to sit down. We get to talk about things that we're interested in. We get to explain the BLS story, the family history, the history of our company, and what made us succeed to the world. And it really, like, I always say this. I say this in every podcast. I'm going to keep repeating it. When it feels like work, then you're not going to love what you do. But when you love what you do, it won't feel like work.
Yeah, and if you share and you're authentic with what you love, and then that resonates with someone, they see the authenticity, then they say, oh, I actually want to work with Eric and Michael because those people align with my values. They're good people. They're putting good in the world. They care about their customers.
Right.
And again, if that's why someone purchases from you, then they're going to purchase you because the $9.99 discount or that someone offers, or the flash fare that you get, that's a flash, and it goes out. And then when you're in a bind, who's going to bend over backwards to make sure someone's there for you? That's the people and the service that you get. So that's why people buy from people, not discounts. And when it becomes, especially in this world with e-commerce, and it's a commoditized product, and that's another thing I learned from Amazon is, cheap prices are really powerful, and it's hard to compete when you have a long game, and Amazon sells a lot of things. And when I went from Amazon to the vitamin space where we only sold vitamins, it became really difficult to compete, because to Amazon, vitamins is one small part of the journey. So they might be willing to lose money on vitamins because you buy a TV from them, you buy clothes from them, and they see that vitamins is a great product because it drives the behavior of every 30 days I need more vitamins. So it makes you come back to Amazon. So they love that behavior of repeat. It's called a consumable product, something that you replenish every day. Those are the products Amazon loves. So they will lose money on a replenishable product like diapers, formula, vitamins, because it drives the behavior of repeat purchases, and they make it up in the long haul. So they look at the long game. How do I demonstrate value in something that my customer cares about? Because I'll get the long tail.
God, this is
but
unbelievable.
Michael, believe it or not, we're doing that.
Tell me.
Because you make less money on you don't make money on an airport transfer. Because it doesn't matter how much you charge. Minimum wage is $15 an hour. A driver's going to be out on the road for 2 hours to do that one airport transfer. That's $30. Let alone if there's overtime,
traffic,
overtime. He could be on a $100 airport transfer, and we could be paying him alone $45.
What happens if the flight's delayed 2 hours, but
exactly.
he's already at JFK?
Right,
Exactly.
and the client's not going to pay for it. The client's like, I'm not paying for wait time. It's not my fault the plane was delayed.
But you have to take. People are going to use that New York airport transfer, that LAX airport transfer all the time, but then they're going to go to the city and they're going to use the car all day. And that's where you make your money but they're going to use 10 airport transfers to one as directed. That's what we call
because
it in our business.
Because they remember when their flight was delayed and it was raining and it was 32 degrees, your guy or girl driver was there with the umbrella.
Airport transfers are our vitamins on Amazon.
Yes,
right.
It's our replenishable. Like everybody always needs an airport transfer. Everybody needs a transfer to go from work to home. We're not making much money on those, but you make money on, when they keep the car for a long time. And
it's interesting. That's
the name of the game.
Did you apply to Vimeo?
I didn't. Vimeo came about. It goes back to saying yes. I was. I made a decision to be open at that point. I'm going to say yes to everything. So a recruiter called me and I said, I don't know anything about media. I'm not a SaaS. I don't have a background. Are you sure you have the right person? He's like, yeah, no. You should come in. I said, I come from e-commerce. I have a digital marketing background. Are you sure? This doesn't feel right for my background. And I told him no, I think twice, even though I said I was going to say yes. And he said, well, why don't you just have coffee with Anjali, our CEO, and see if there's a fit. So literally the best job I've ever had in my life came from saying yes to coffee and then sitting down with the CEO, who's an incredibly inspiring leader, and finding out we had more in common. She actually worked at Amazon at the same division as I did. We overlapped for 2 weeks. So as I was coming in, she was leaving. She had a similar background. She was running marketing at a point in time before she became CEO at the company. So she understood marketing. She spoke my language and really knew what it took to be successful. And we hit it off. And so saying yes to coffee led to the most fulfilling job in my career.
Amazing.
So no, I wasn't looking. I didn't apply. I actually wanted to turn it down because every instinct in my body would have said, it's not the right fit. And if I said no to that, I would have turned off an amazing opportunity. So much in the world, people say, oh, you're lucky, or are you a lucky person? Luck is an elusive word, and it's really how you
doesn't exist.
No.
Luck does not exist.
Luck does exist. It exists for everyone, but it's how you define luck. And I'll explain I know you guys believe you call it the secret or putting positive energy. I think so much in the world is about attitude and positivity. And I've always considered myself lucky before, not just because I have an amazing wife who's out of my league, but still makes me a better person, or I have
that's really sweet.
Two beautiful kids. I have a job that I love, and I work for an inspiring leader. Those are all great things that I'm grateful for. But luck to me is about being a willingness and openness to see the good things that present themselves in the world. And many people just have their heads down, so they're not open to the opportunities.
That's exactly right. And they're not opening those doors.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I've always, since I was 5, thought I was a lucky person. And all these good things happened to me. And that fulfilled that I'm lucky. So more good things happened. And then I think I was in my mid-20s, there's a segment on, 60 Minutes or 2020 that was talking about luck. And they did a science experiment, and they took 20 people, 10 that thought they were lucky people and 10 that said they were just unlucky. And they were having them come to the studio in Manhattan, and right in the entrance to the door, they put a $100 bill on the floor. And it was right in front. So you had to walk past the $100 bill. And every single person, all 20 people, had to walk past the $100 bill. And a really interesting thing that happened was, I think it was like 9 out of the 10 people that thought they were lucky saw the $100 bill, picked it up, and the exact opposite of the people that thought they were unlucky, 9 out of them walked by it, only 1 picked it up. And it just was, it was like that captured the essence of my approach to life, of when you believe good things are going to happen to you, you go out into the world expecting good things to happen to you. So you're always on the lookout, what's the next good thing? I'm going to look, and because you're always looking for the good things, when they present themselves, you're willing to receive them and you find them. And that's
the power of positivity 110% works. And like, you're a living, breathing example of it.
100%.
Because like you can just sense from your energy, you're a happy guy.
Yeah, I am. I get joked on the leadership team that I am the positive one. Every time I'm looking at the glass half full or the positive side of it.
You have to. If you to get to where you are, like in my mind, I would always think that the CMO from Vimeo would be some Stanford guy from Silicon Valley with like
state school.
That's what's so inspiring about this, is that you can go to Binghamton and become the CMO of Vimeo. And that is amazing. What
this podcast is all about is this guy right here. You don't need to go to Harvard. It's all about the attitude.
Yep.
And it's how you, I don't know if have you read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind?
I have not.
Okay.
Download it.
Download it. It's very powerful. That was the book that changed my life. That and The Science of Getting Rich. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind is how you program your beliefs, and what your beliefs.
He's doing that.
I know, and he's not even realizing that it is.
But it goes back into the same thing of, you don't control the world. You control how you react to the things that happen in the
100%.
world. And by the way, that doesn't mean shitty things don't happen.
Of course they do.
Sometimes the universe comes around with a baseball bat and hits you in the face. It doesn't mean I haven't been fired from a job. It doesn't mean I haven't suffered loss of a loved one that has no rational being. But what it does mean is, when you expect good things to happen, I literally go into every situation, I just expect it to be a good outcome.
Same with us.
And by the way,
Same
that doesn't mean
us.
that 9 times out of 10 there aren't bad outcomes. It means I remember the good outcome, and every time I start something, I expect it to be good. So that means I always start things where the person that doesn't believe there'll be a good outcome, they never even take the start. So because they didn't go into it, or they think it's going to be a negative outcome, they don't even take it on. They miss the one good thing because they didn't do the 10 things to get there.
Like,
and they just don't even start.
Like, I went into a meeting, you were sick, but I went into a meeting 2 nights ago into the city, and like, as you're walking into it and you're getting the vibrations from it, you're like, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Like, do you get that feeling where like you walk in?
Do you have a sixth sense, like walking in, knowing this is going to be all right? We
got this already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that energy. By the way, you talk about an athlete that succeeds. They believe they're going to get a hit. There's no difference between a top-tier athlete going to a bat that gets the hit, that doesn't get the hit. It's their belief in and their focus on the outcome they want to see, and that's what makes it happen. And you go into a situation and you will always be right. Whether you think you're going to have a bad time or a good time, you will be 100% right. Because if you go throughout the life and to the party thinking it's going to be a bad time or bad things are going to happen, you will seek out the negative experience, or you'll only pay attention to the bad things that are happening to you.
Whether you think you can or whether you think you can, either way, you're right. That's a 311 lyric, but that's from, I think, Norman Vincent Peale or The Secret, or that's like an old.
In Boss Baby, he's like, if you aim for failure, you'll always succeed.
Yeah, but I mean, that's pretty universal.
And by the way, cliches or things, the common themes you read in all these books, it's all the same thing. It's how you approach life and what you want the outcome to be. I say it with my team that I lead. I believe in being outcome focused, not tactic focused. I've said that before numerous times, and what I mean by that is, and sometimes people mistake how this is said, but it's not how you achieve the goal, it's achieving the goal. And I don't mean that the ends justify the means. That's not what I'm saying. It means that if you're outcome focused, you could fail at a lot of different approaches, but if you keep trying, you will find the right approach that leads you to your success. And that doesn't mean do anything to succeed or be a bad person. It just means that don't give up, and you never truly fail. This goes back to my sport when I was wrestling, is you never truly fail, you just stop trying. So as long as you're continuing your pursuit and willing to find different paths to achieve it, you'll find success eventually.
Right.
It just takes time.
You can't be afraid to shift gears, and
No.
you can't be dogmatic about your approach. We have to say, okay, I tried this for a long time. It's still not working.
Well,
I have to reinvent myself.
Harris has clearly reinvented himself. I mean, you started out in, gift
Flowers,
flowers and
tulips and gift baskets.
right, and now you have a
tech
pretty
company.
powerful position at a tech company. How far high? I mean, you're pretty high up. Do you want to go higher? Do you want to,
I don't know. I think I want to do a good job in the role I'm in. And I think if you focus on you always have to have, I said outcome focus. You have to have a guide to where you want to be in life. But so many people focus on where they want to get to. They lose sight of what they're doing now. And I think I want to be an incredible CMO. I want to deliver for my team. I want to deliver for my colleagues, for my boss and the company that owns us. And I think if I do a good job, then the next opportunity presented. But right now, and this is maybe, I don't know, one of the first time, I am truly happy in my career. And I work way too much. I make a lot of sacrifices. I wake up very early. I stay up late.
Well, that was my next question. What's your day like? Like, give us like a standard day in the life of Harris
Beber. I usually
Beber.
wake up at 5.
Right.
That's my favorite time of the day, and some people think I'm crazy, is that 5 to 6:30 because my 2 kids are sleeping. Everyone in the house is sleeping. I get to have a cup of coffee, my laptop.
It's your hour of power.
Yeah, and it's just catching up on email. It's the time that's for me that I get to before the meetings start, before get the kids ready for school. Or the day tends to spiral, and you have a lot less control once the day gets started. But if I get up early, it's hard to get interrupted, and I feel productive. So whether I do a spin, which I'm doing less of on Peloton, or I get some,
we just got them. We just got the Pelotons.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I sing its praises, although my wife gives me a very hard time in that it's better shirt rack these days because I've been busy. So
I started out at like 5 days a week, then I went to 4 days a week, and now I'm traveling we're traveling next week. So I'm like, I'll just get back to it when I get back.
The key is a habit, though. You have to, once you get hooked on it. And the thing, it's crafted for my life that, if I used to love spin, Soul Cycle. I tried a bunch of them. The problem with that was I worked. The schedule isn't conducive to my schedule, and then so I had to do it on a Saturday, but it was 15 minutes away from where I live, so I had to drive. That meant 20 minutes to get there. The class, it meant I gave up 2 hours on a Saturday, which, by the way, is the only time I really get with my kids. I see them at night before they go to bed, but the quality time I get with them is on the weekends. So Peloton solves
and then you
that.
get to the office. What time are you in the office by?
It depends. Sometimes I'll go in earlier, but usually it's more productive to work at home. I'll wait for the kids to wake up. I get to see them, and I'm usually in the office by 8, around 8 plus or minus 15 minutes.
Okay.
And that, again, that's the quiet time. Vimeo is a product-driven engineering, so a lot of people come in a little bit later. They work a little bit later, and they stay later. We have flexible schedules. People work to adjust to their life. So some people are early. More people come in a little later, work late. As long as you're getting the job done in your work, we want to be flexible. Again, flexible in your approach, steadfast in the outcomes that we want.
So are you one of the people that love to have like long meetings or short meetings, or like do you just...
It depends on the meeting. Unfortunately, we have too many meetings. I think that's a curse of the modern age or of today, is there's a lot of meetings, which also forces the necessity of working early and late to be productive. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've never really thought about it. Long is never good. I don't know anyone that likes to be in a long meeting. It's very rarely.
Sometimes they get pretty long-winded.
Yeah, I very rarely do get more efficiency out of a longer meeting. You don't accomplish more. Mm-hmm. I like a clear agenda, what the outcome is that you're looking for,
a solution,
and then measurement, and then a follow-up of did we achieve that. That's the ideal meeting. We have meeting guidelines that every few months we reiterate to the whole company, and by the way, we try to lead by example, which doesn't always happen because the world happens.
You do the best you can.
Yeah. What does Vimeo give to their employees? Do they allow them? I went to the AOL. It was AOL. No, it was Oath. It was the Oath offices once, and they had a yoga room. Mm-hmm. They had a meditation room. Do you guys offer that? Do you?
IAC, our parent company, does have. I don't know if it's a meditation room. They have a room upstairs that has 2 chairs that you could book if you want to take a nap.
It's amazing.
But that's a small little room.
Totally create
I think
that.
It has 2 lounges.
We'll put a cot on here.
I don't know how many people take advantage of it. Vimeo, gives, I think, flexibility.
Mhm.
We have a lot of working parents that we let life happen. People, if they need to work from home, we're a tech-enabled company, so we use video conferencing. We adapt to people's lives. Again, we know what we want to achieve, and if you hire the right people, they should be able to and trust them to do the job they were hired for. You could be flexible in areas like
Companies like yours set the tone for companies like ours because we're not a startup. We're a family-run business. We don't have any investors.
Well, tell the audience.
You have investors. You have investors. Your clients are your investors. Your employees are your investors.
You're looking at the investors here. We don't have outside money.
Listen,
and we're the only
stakeholders, I should say, not investors.
When we're short on payroll, it's our home equity lines that are coming in to save the day. And, we
don't do it often. It's very, very rare that we have to throw in money.
When it did happen, we had to do what we had to do.
Right. And we kept the company afloat. And it, but Eric instilled a culture.
We came from a place where
our father was really
very
old school. Yeah.
And
to say the least.
He wanted all the work with very little of the benefit. He thought the benefit was just working here. So Michael and I made a change where we're like, we want people to have fun when they come here, and we want people to we give them, we're more lenient with the time off. We give them we feed breakfast every single day. We do lunch once a week. And these are all newer things, but like companies like Vimeo have been doing that for years, and
that's why they retain these incredible employees. Right. And we give everyone, for everyone's birthday, they could take the day off. And they get
we do that as well, yes.
Yeah. Like it's things like that where we didn't have a problem hiring this year because we offer the 2 weeks vacation, we offer the birthday off.
Right. In the last 6 months, we hired 60 people.
That's incredible.
It's insane, and we opened up 6 more offices this year, and we're opening up 6 more next year. I mean, we have these big projects that we're doing, and growing the company, and doing the podcast, and writing the books. There's only 24. I look at it. There's only 24 hours in a day, and people are like, "How do you sleep?" I'm like, "That's the point." I write every night, and you write until the eyes go, and then you get up again, and you start the day all over again because we're here for such a short time.
I mean, for everyone's frame of reference, like we started the podcast at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So we could go do our jobs.
Right.
Exactly.
Which
the day job.
You started off by saying this is fun,
yeah.
right? But you get to do this stuff by making room for it, not by taking away from the stuff that you need to do.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. This was incredible. You have taught us so much, and we are so grateful that you allowed, you came on here and you allowed some time for us.
I'm grateful for you and your mom and what you gave to me at a part where I was, just trying to make a mark in the world. And I think you come across moments in life where you have a choice where it's easy to say no, but it's even easier to say yes and help someone. And I think people take the quick no, but if you have an opportunity to take a phone call or help someone or go out of your way, that you don't realize the enormous impact and ripples that has on that individual when it could be very small for you.
It's amazing. This 20 years ago, I don't want to say we invested in Harris, but we were nice to Harris.
Yeah, it's simple.
I knew he was going to be the CMO of Vimeo one day, and that's why I was nice to you.
But not only that, but now
I'll give you the money.
Okay, thanks, Harris.
It came back around, and he's doing us a favor, and
that's karma.
It's
the rule. It's the laws of karma, and I know it's you live by those rules. You may not say, well, this is karma, so I'm going to go take care of this person. Like, you have that attitude where it's
attitude of gratitude.
It's attitude of gratitude.
I believe in it. I think positivity goes a long way.
Yep.
It's the way you approach it. We've talked about this all morning, is the way you approach life, the way you look at it and perceive it. You could always see the good or bad in anything. You're a happier person when you choose to see the good.
100%. And that we should just end this golden podcast. This was fascinating. This was the best one.
This was so much fun.
Yeah. And I hope you come back.
I will.
We have to talk.
Can you
I want to talk
me a
about
car?
family.
100%.
Yeah, of course. I'll come pick you up.
Yes, I want you picking me up.
Yeah, I'll pick you up. Yeah. Do you have any social media that you want to promote, or
this is, I think, promoting positivity. Do something good. That's the only thing I want to promote.
Okay.
Do a favor for somebody.
Any specific shout outs you want to give to?
No, to Eric and Michael.
Oh,
Phyllis.
my
I do
God.
want to give a shout out to Phyllis.
All right.
If you don't know, that is Eric and Michael's mom. She is the one that placed orders. She would call me with.
I wasn't expecting that, but thank
awesome
you.
Because we talk about this stuff all the time,
all
and we
time.
talk about being good. And my mom's been on the podcast, and we talk about all these things.
Right.
And then when you have someone coming in and saying, "Yeah, it's true," that's awesome.
And I remember this was before you even started the podcast. We had just reconnected. It had been a few years, and I asked Michael for Phyllis's email, and I said, "Hey, I just want to send her a note." Michael didn't even know why, and I wanted to send her a note thanking her. She probably didn't even realize that her buying flowers made such a difference for me, or that she sent, a pen to somebody, a business associate, and it made a difference to me. She was just, it was an easy decision for her to make. She was going to send a gift anyway.
It wasn't even a question.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a question of whether we were going to, work with you when you had gift back.
That's how we live our lives.
Right. And it wasn't to be like, one day we're going to need a favor from Harry. Like, we don't work like that. We don't say, one day we're going to need it back from him.
No.
We don't operate like that.
It's easier to be nice and mean and go out of your way, but people don't usually it's odd because they take the more difficult way.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Did you have fun?
I did. I had fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on,
Thanks,
Harris.
everybody. And we forgot to say in the beginning, right? Like, subscribe, share. Send this to all your friends at Vimeo.
And if you want to make videos, go on Vimeo. We're gonna talk about Vimeo now and how we can use it for hours.
Is there after hours? We should do like an after hours right now.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
After the podcast.
After the podcast. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.